Hey everyone, welcome to The Office Field Guide. I'm Chris and I'm reviewing every episode of The Office because, and this is true, I really like this show. Today we are looking at Branch Wars. This episode was written by Mindy Kaling and it was directed by Joss Whedon of Buffy, Avengers, Cabin in the Woods, and more fame. Branch Wars originally aired on November 1st, 2007, was viewed by 8.4 million people, and currently has an 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb. And here's your emoji sequence for this episode. Your trivia for Branch Wars is, what are the names on the 3 warehouse worker uniforms?
Jim, help leave us! No, save yourself! Don't leave us! Help us! We need help, Jim!
Keep an eye out for the hidden bloody nipple Andy. Put the correct trivia answer in the comments or the timestamp of the Easter egg to get your name in next week's video. Okay, and with that, let's get this war started.
I understand nothing.
Utica!
Granted, maybe this was not the best idea.
The day started like any other, with normal Ferris Buellerian shenanigans at the office.
Oh, good, Stanley. First victim. This is what I want you to do.
But no one suspected what was about to occur.
I got an offer from Utica for more money, and I'm going to take it.
Yet when it came, it was apparent that this had been developing for quite a while.
That's what she said.
Afterwards, regional manager Michael Gary Scott's first counter move was thwarted.
I can't do it. Toby is the worst. That was a bluff.
Scott knew his second counter-strike had to hit them where it would hurt the most.
Could you transfer me to one of your salespeople, please? Your best one?
That didn't work either.
Didn't everyone from Stanford quit, like, immediately?
No, I fired them, and you're next.
Nugent's words cut, but it was then that Scott realized that this act of aggression wasn't isolated to one mediocre salesman, but it was aimed at the heart, the soul, and the reputation of the Scranton branch itself.
That's why people are leaving. I have no words.
That's when Scott came up with a plan that would change their lives forever.
We will burn Utica to the ground.
He knew that he needed to act quickly, but he needed allies. And a plan.
Word is our branch sucks. We have to do something about it.
Third in command, Dwight Schrute, was in before Michael even invited him.
It's gonna be so badass!
But Scott knew that Halpert couldn't be recruited using the truth. So he devised a great deception.
You, me, Dwight are going to jump in my PT Cruiser. We are going to crush this sale.
The Scranton trio drove the 2 hours and 43 minutes from Scranton, Pennsylvania to Utica, New York. While only a quick trip, many sacrifices were made along the way.
I think I cut my penis on the lid!
As Schrute and Scott infiltrated the Utica warehouse, Halpert noted, "This is the dumbest thing we've ever done." Thanks to their quick thinking and stealthy prowess, the duo were able to avoid detection inside the Utica branch.
Hello, we're warehouse workers. Would you like more proof?
Then an event that eternally changed the relations between the two branches occurred at roughly 2:15 p.m. The impact first affected Scott's hip,
My hip bone! We're wedged between the cup here and the railing!
but quickly intensified when Schrute peed himself.
Move over a little bit! I'm losing control of my bladder!
Oh my god.
As Scott laid there, held between the precipices of life and death, ever dutiful, his consciousness drifted not to the loss of loved ones or life, but to the continuity of duties, as he asked Halpert to take on his greatest responsibility.
If this is it for me, promise me something. Host the Dundies.
While many questions still linger about this fateful day, like who paid for the copier? What's up with Dwight's eye harm fetish?
I have to do something to his eyes.
Or why did nobody get in trouble for this? One consequence will forever linger in the halls of Utica. Some have designated it a grim reminder of that day. Some have called it a security measure, as long as Michael Scott was still working for Dunder Mifflin. Either way, Branch Wars is only the second largest copier kerfluffle in Dunder Mifflin history.
Let me see the copier again.
All right, get out.
Join us next time when we get to The Surplus.
Great Scott!
And we're back. I hope you enjoyed that. Let's do some quick callouts before we get to the deeper meaning. Michael's back in the PT Cruiser in this episode. Maybe one of Jan's ideas was to return the Porsche.
What?
I have some ideas.
Nope, still there during the dinner party, so I don't know. Okay, and the voice of Ben Nugent, Utica's top salesman,
Aren't you the guy that hit the woman with your car?
is portrayed by Ben Nugent, the then boyfriend of one Mindy Kaling. This might have been during one of the off-again points during her relationship with BJ Novak. It is interesting that both Kaling and Novak are credited in this episode, but they don't appear. Okay, and we see the teapot is back as part of the Finer Things Club. I love the idea of this thing sitting on a shelf somewhere in a props department in NBC and just gets called back every few years. I don't know if this is an editing gaffe or just Dwight not always knowing how to act socially, but he seems shocked here.
Okay. No.
But he was in the room when Stanley told Michael this earlier.
I got an offer from Utica for more money, and I'm going to take it.
What?
Andy never makes it into the Finer Things Club, I guess. We literally never see it again, but he does make it into his safety group.
The party planning committee is my backup, and Kevin's band is my safety.
And I see a lot of memes surrounding how Phyllis says popcorn.
Someone needs to clean it. It smells like popcorn.
Guys, I'm about 30 minutes from where Phyllis is from, and I can attest that many people around here use A's instead of O's. Years ago, I tried to find my grandparents' new house way out in the country. Instructions she gave me over the phone, I wrote everything down. This is before MapQuest and Google, all that. I just said MapQuest. Whatever, I'm old. But she said go down this road. Once it turns into a dirt road, then look for Margan Street on your right. I drove up and down that stupid road and I couldn't find anything with Margan on it, so I finally turned all the way back around and drove back into town so I could give her a call. It wasn't Margan, it was Morgan. So it's a thing. All right, let's dive into the deeper meaning.
What does a bean mean?
Someone please explain it to Kevin.
Okay, I read so much stupid stuff on this Ian Forrester book just to conclude that it was a red herring. I think the reading of this episode actually revolves around the idea of displacement, so stick with me because this episode is full of it. Jim doesn't belong in the Finer Things Club, Pam tells him that, and Jim then proves it.
Who's the main character?
Angela. Nope. The Ashes.
Jim doesn't belong at Utica with Karen in a ladies' warehouse uniform. Karen's displaced and clearly still a little bitter after Jim dumped her.
Karen is trying to get back at us because Jim dumped her.
Stanley doesn't belong in Utica either. Karen worked by him for quite a while. I don't think it's a stellar work ethic that she's seeking. Michael and Dwight don't belong at Utica either.
I can see the security guard's eyes.
No, don't do anything to them.
Michael's ploy in the cold opening is all about being anywhere except where he's supposed to be. I doubt Toby really belongs in the Finer Things Club. Does this strike you as a man with conviction about belonging here?
I know, right? I just want to go and look at art and swim in the Adriatic.
I mean, I know he mumbles a lot, but I'm just not feeling it. But the Finer Things Club as a whole does not belong in the Scranton office. Every single example of displacement has a direct adverse reaction. Michael's screwing around in his office, Stanley's had enough. Michael, Dwight, and Jim don't belong in Utica, it goes catastrophic. Dwight's still sporting that sweet stash though. The displacement of people is a toxic byproduct of war. And, oh crap. Okay, I guess the Ian Forrester book does play into this a little bit. That story revolves around its protagonist feeling trapped between the primp and proper and what is down and dirty. Or in other words, keeping the facade or shedding it. We do see that theme a little bit with the Branch Wars as well as with the Finer Things Club. Branch Wars is a look at what happens when the war that wages inside of us isn't dealt with. We can scrap and claw and hang on to ways of life that aren't working for us.
Just say you want to get back together.
No, I'm not doing that.
It doesn't have to mean anything. Just do it for Stanley.
I also have to mention that I really do think that this episode was intended to be a part of an arc with the Survivor Man episode, and that's because their deeper meanings seem to be really intertwined with each other. So we'll get to a full conclusion after that episode, so stick with me there. Or I don't know, maybe this whole episode just exists to set up this fan theory.
Is he some sort of secret genius? Sometimes I say crazy things.
And with that, let's dish out some Dundies.
And then I gotta get him to the Dundies.
All right, that's Racist Dundee goes to this episode.
More money, more problems, Stanley. You of all people should know that. You cannot take the hilarious black guy from The Office.
You've been like an uncle to me. Like a kind old Uncle Remus.
Wanted. Middle-aged black man with sass. Big butt. Bigger heart.
I'm sure I missed more. Let me know in the comments. And the other Dundee for doing my job for me goes to Stanley.
We're gonna hide. I want you to tell me if this looks like me, okay?
I don't understand why sleeping at your desk is better than you not being
Just
here.
go out and come back in.
And also, we can't forget about this. But with that, let's rate this thing.
This is the worst.
Okay, the cold opening, not my favorite. It does have some energy, and I did get to say Ferris Buellerian earlier. I ripped that straight off from Community. I don't know, guys. I give this one a 2 out of 5. It's energetic, but it's not overly funny or memorable, really in any other way. As for the episode itself, I gotta say, they kind of flubbed the execution here. I still blame season 4's pending writer's strike for this, and the deeper meaning of this one was a lot more difficult to scout out, and that's not always chalked up to bad writing. It could be writing, but it also could be the decisions they made on set and the editing. I'm sure there's a brilliant premise in this one, but as it is, it feels like the A plot and B plot just exist in their own worlds, which makes me feel like this episode is a little bit out of place and disjointed. Having said that, this episode does have some of the best bloopers of all of season 4, dinner party excluded. Between not being able to get through this line,
I cut a chunk out of my penis for nothing. I cut a chunk out of my penis. Seriously, I cut a chunk out of my penis.
I'm sorry.
Or this line,
I
He said bow tie. Did you hear him?
This will be almost impossible.
It's obvious they had a blast. And there is so much fun in the idea of Michael and Dwight raiding Utica. And one last thing, I'd like to have seen Joss Whedon's fingerprints in this episode a little bit more. Whedon likes to subvert expectations and tropes. One example of that from this episode was probably the decision to film the raid from Jim's perspective.
Come on, Jim, just climb on top of her and think about Stanley. Oh, God. Oh, Jim.
But that might have just been a budgetary issue though, or I've had in the back of my mind that since they shot this footage that was deleted, maybe the sequence just wasn't as funny on film as it was in our imaginations. Okay, it's weird when I have to update a video like this, but I figured this would be the best place to cut in. In my original plans for this field guide, I imagined making a cartoon version of what happened to Michael and Dwight inside the Utica branch. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that all together for this week, which is why I went with the Ken Burns-esque documentary bit, which I loved, I hope you did too. But I'm excited to be working on this now with a really talented artist to get this video up and out. So here's a really quick sneak peek at some of the work done so far.
I can see the security guard's eyes.
No, don't do anything to them.
I have to do something to his eyes. We got something far better. Their crown jewel. Their industrial copier.
Isn't that thing huge?
That's what she said.
So if you don't see a link at the top of this video right now or in the description, then we haven't finished it yet. If you want to be first to see it in the future, just make sure you've subscribed and hit the bell notification. Now back to the ratings. As it is, I'm giving this episode a 3 out of 5, which puts it on par with Dunder Mifflin Infinity, and that sounds about right-ish. But that's just what I think about Branch Wars. What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for coming back each week. I'll remind everyone that the channel now has a Discord server. The chat's been pretty active since we set it up. Hop on there and say hey. As always, please give this video a like and leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't. All of that stuff helps me out a ton. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.